Liz, great to have you with us here in the studio. It's a really interesting area, fast fashion. Now, I know my mum's watching, so just explain to her what fast fashion is.
So fast fashion begins with a trend based on mostly the catwalks. From the point where the catwalks happen, you'll have probably 6 to 8 weeks. High street brands will then create their own trends that interpret what's going on the catwalks, and then we push really quickly to get that product in store. More often than not, quicker than the catwalks actually get into the designer.
So these sort of cheap and cheerful versions of very glamorous clothes that you see in the magazines and on social media and so on. And people, often young people, but not exclusively, will often wear a thing once or twice and then chuck it away. Yeah,
partly to do with the fact that trends change so quickly, which kind of there's like a double-pronged issue there for me, is that it doesn't help people identify their own style. So that's kind of one aspect. But also the other aspect is the make of the clothing. Often, because it's done so quickly, the quality of the fabric's quite poor, the workmanship, not derailing what factories are doing, but sometimes it is, it's less than adequate.
Cards on the table, confession time. Liz McGreevy, co-founder and designer at ReThreads. Were you once a fast fashion addict? I mean, how did you feel?
I worked it.
Buying something and literally chucking it away after one wear, not even washing. If you wash the thing, it will fall apart, right? In some cases.
Yeah, so I think because I worked in fashion, a lot of my wardrobe was vintage. I liked vintage. I liked the vintage because it had a history, and I liked it because it was a one-off. And I felt like I had kind of my own style. But I did shop the high street. And I generally didn't throw it away. It would go to charity. It didn't have a lot of spend per wear, I call it, which is like how many times you wear it. I would then, basically pass it on to charity or to a family member. It would never go in the bin, or I'd kind of upcycle it. So it's a slightly better version of the truth, but it's...
But now you're slightly older, if I may mention, and much wiser. Tell us about ReThreads.
So ReThreads is a workwear brand, sustainable workwear brand with massive social value at its core.
You're wearing a ReThreads number, right? I can see the little logo, RT.
Yeah, proudly. So what we do is we look to work with our partner charity Rise Futures, which is a charity that works with young people in care, or care experienced as we refer, and we look to give them meaningful work experience within our brand. We also give a large portion of our profits, 20% minimum per year, to Rise Futures to help support young people through their
we can see some of your products up on the screen there for those of us who are watching us on TV rather than listening on the radio. It's a very modern look. It's kind of classless, if I may say
versatile,
so. And it looks to me pretty intergenerational. You're not going for sort of teens. You're going for people in this mid to late 20s onwards. It's funkier than dad wear, if I may say so.
The idea is it's accessible to everyone. So if you just want a plain T-shirt, like if you're like a skateboarder or you're like a surfer or whatever, it just has those like really good basics that you can rely on. We have a lifetime repair model built in, so we'll take them back and repair them for you and then send them back and then kind of look after it at end of life. So the garments, we see it from beginning to end.
But, you're a skilled designer, obviously. You've got a reputation in the industry. Quality costs money, doesn't it, Liz? You need good materials. You need good workmanship.
Yeah.
It takes time. Yeah. There's a cost of living crisis going on. How's your business getting on as people's budgets are being squeezed? You are punting, upmarket casual wear.
So generally, I think we position ourselves quite well in terms of the market of other workwear brands. It isn't cheap, but the reason it isn't cheap is our fabrics are sustainable. They're certified cottons. We don't use any plastic. Our buttons are metal. There's zero plastic in what we make.
And that appeals to a lot of people, doesn't it? Particularly younger people.
Yeah, so that's one aspect. We look to give our workers in the factory, we use an ethical factory currently within Turkey, so they have a very fair living wage. It's been audited and we've read the reports, so we have a fully clear landscape of where we sit kind of within our ethical practice. The idea is not about spending lots of money, lots of time spend well.
Value for money.
Spend well.
Buy cheap, you buy twice, right? That's
yeah. So it
as my dad used to tell me.
Exactly. It does become a false economy because you end up spending more. So yeah, what we're looking to do is kind of try and gently change mindsets that actually we don't need to have lots. We could just have a bit less and just.
So when did you start the business and how's it going?
Lockdown, middle of lockdown.
Wow.
Lockdown.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was actually. It was an idea that was sparked. So my other co-founder, Matt, we started a conversation, kind of seeing where it would go, and we thought there was something in it, so we just kind of pushed forward.
And you're in the shops, or is it only online?
It's online currently. We are going to be having a pop-up shop at the end of September during London Design Festival, which is like a week-long festival that kind of like is the purveyor of design within London.
And what's the future, as Simon Cowell says, though I've got better hair, as Simon Cowell says, what's the dream?
So the dream is we eventually have our own manufacturing. My dream, so I'm probably like speaking. The dream is to have our own manufacturing facility within the UK, so we're creating jobs and opportunities beyond what we are doing currently with our factory in Turkey. But the be-all and end-all is that we support as many students through our Rise Futures programme as we can do. So young people who are still within the care system, who are looking to get valuable and meaningful work experience. So we will bring them in, help them learn skills and let them go forth and